Sir, the chair now recognizes the Cheese King from Wisconsin, Mr. Derek Van Orden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I was raised in abject rural poverty by a single mother, and we were on food stamps. To answer the question that you're thinking about right now, they were not written on papyrus. I'm not quite that old. I had subsidized lunches, I had government cheese. I was being shot at literally as a Navy SEAL in combat, and my wife and I used WIC to help feed our children. So Mr. Molinaro from New York shares a similar story. So I will not sit here and be lectured by people who have not walked the walk that I have. I will not. I volunteered to be on the SNAP committee because I think these programs are incredibly important. And to say that Republicans are trying to snatch bread out of people's mouths is inflammatory, it is disingenuous, and it is not helpful. And I'm going to call a truce after I do this. It took less than a second for me to find a job in Sparta, Wisconsin, an entry-level position that paid $14.07 an hour. The $7.25 is ridiculous. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to stop it, and I will also, okay? Enough. Let's work for the American people and not try to legislate by sound bites. Inappropriate. Ma'am, Mr. Sheedy, I'm not sure that I agree with you dictating what people should be eating. I just don't. I think it's inappropriate. We're trying to get whole food or whole milk back into schools, and the reason it's not there is because it was removed by a previous administration. So I'm not a fan of the government dictating to people what they can and cannot eat. They say that we already provide microwavable foods to folks. Well, guess what? When I was growing up, we were too poor to have a microwave. I can take you to places in Baltimore right now or within a mile and a half of this room, and they don't have a microwave because they can't afford it. Or they're latchkey kids and they don't know how to prepare food. So I don't want to mandate what people can and cannot eat. I think that's inappropriate. I do agree with the rest of the stuff you're saying, but just so you know. Ms. Brown, are you aware that last September it was revealed that a Feeding Our Future, a Minnesota-based nonprofit, allegedly exploited USDA child nutrition programs to defraud the American taxpayers of over $250 million intended to feed hungry children during COVID-19?
I am aware that was with the Department of Education, not the Department of Human Services.
I understand. Similar programs. So can you admit that fraud does exist in these programs?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think there are bad actors.
Right, everywhere, right. So we can't legislate by exception, correct?
Say that again?
So we can't legislate by exception.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. And G.T. Thompson says that he really wants these programs to be a hand up, not a hand out. Do you agree with that?
A hand up, not a handout.
Yeah.
I believe that the SNAP benefit is incredibly beneficial to people.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. So with that in mind, how many people have been raised out of poverty that have used your programs?
I know that I don't have any of the stats in front of me, but we can certainly send that to you afterward. I know that there are numerous studies that indicate childhood poverty has been reduced by the receipt of SNAP.
Okay. Well, I would like to see those numbers because I'm a member of Congress now because of these programs. I take this very, very seriously. Mr. Hodel, I would posit the reason that your programs are so incredibly successful is specifically because you do not receive any government funding. Do you concur?
That's been our business model, and it's been part of our success.
Okay, so out of all the things we've talked about, all these incredibly important programs, we've got one example here where your ROI just blows it out of the water. So you're involving the community in a godly fashion to help our fellow citizens, our neighbors, in a way that is incredibly productive, and it has zero involvement with the federal government.
Yes,
correct?
sir. And we do have some involvement with the government when you say zero. For example, we see farmers to food boxes. So I just want to acknowledge that that was a government program that was a benefit to us.
But so you have a minimal involvement with the federal government?
Very, very, very minimal.
Okay. Well, I'm very proud of you. And I do appreciate the Christian sentiment by my brothers and sisters here on the committee. I too am a Christian, and you're right, the poor will always be with us, but that doesn't mean we don't try helping them on a daily basis. So thank you very much for your work, everybody. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, sir.